The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Gwilda Wiyaka's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the Science of Magic or endorsed in any manner by Gwilda Wiyaka, Relmar McConnell Media Company, its affiliated networks, stations, or employees. Welcome to the Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, a program dedicated to uncovering the unified nature of reality and humanity's ever-evolving place as truly galactic beings. For more information on the Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, visit us online at www.thescienceofmagic.net.
Hello, dear friends, and welcome to the Science of Magic, a program combining the science and magic of today's leading topics to co-create new solutions and promote evolutionary thinking. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. This hour we'll be exploring electronics and the metaphysical. It rebalances your frequency. That's all it does. What you do with the increase in personal power is up to you, your intent, and your level of self-awareness. This could be said of every health kick and spiritual practice on the planet. From cleansing diets to meditation and chakra balancing, the results are always a mixed bag due to that pesky little factor, conscious and unconscious human intent. The same can be said of every medical treatment, be it allopathic or alternative. Though we can be supported by various practices, ultimately, only the conscious intention of the individual can facilitate healing. But if the patient's system is grossly out of balance, they often lack the personal power to back their intent. Living in this technological era, we're constantly bombarded by things that compromise our balance. We live in an unholy soup of chemicals, pollutants, EMFs, unlike any other time in recorded history. What if electronics and energy technology could also be used to restore energetic balance? Fight fire with fire, if you will. With us to explore the magical healing properties to be generated by electronics is Gene Koonce, the inventor of the Vibe Machine, a.k.a. the Quantum Pulse. Gene has a degree in electronics and served in the military in the electronics field. Operating a successful electronics repair business for over 30 years, he dabbled in various inventions in the energetics and frequencies arena. As a result, he developed one of the most important discoveries of his lifetime, the Vibe Machine. Gene was driven by the promise of healing, helping, and most importantly, advancing the human body's vibrational level. Although the technological aspects of the apparatus were always clear to him, the metaphysical implications had become apparent over time. His website, thequantumpulse.com. Gene, thanks so much for joining us on the Science of Magic.
Thank you for having me on.
It's so good to talk to you again. So would you mind sharing, what's your background related to energy technology?
Actually, I started out mainstream and electronics all my life. When I built this device, my clients coming in to use the device had a background, Boulder, if you will, Boulder, Colorado. They would come in and tell me they would see things in front of the machine or their abilities were increasing. So that opened my eyes to, after hearing this over and over, there was something going on here that was not of mainstream media.
So when you're talking about Boulder, Colorado, it's kind of the land of alternative health, right?
You know, growing up, we would say it's nestled between the mountains and reality. but as I got further into this and seeing things occur, I said, wait a minute, there is something here. And that's how it started as far as the energetic field, the plasma, the ether, because I could literally see things appearing in front of my eyes.
Well, let's dive right in here. What is plasma energy?
Well, solid, liquid, gas, plasma, it's a state of energy. The body itself is a plasma field, and it's also an implosive device versus an explosive device. So we have a negative, what they call entropy, energetic field that this plasma is used for the body to communicate throughout its system, so that, for an example, I use a baseball player swinging a bat. He has to see that ball, swing that bat, before the nervous system even knows what to do, and it's done via this field. And so I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but this energetic field or plasma energy is accelerated through the use of the sun traveling through the atmosphere through noble gases.
Okay, so let's back up a little bit. When you're talking about the body and how a baseball player swinging a bat has to actually make the entire move before the nervous system can get there, is that kind of like, you drop something on your toe and you know it's going to hurt, okay? But you don't feel the hurt until you've hopped around a couple times because it's so far away from the brain. Is it the same kind of thing?
Yes, and this energy, knowing... another example I use is how two sisters know, one knows the other one got hurt or killed across the country instantly. So this field, or this energetic field, or plasma field, if you will, is there. And this was all brought up by Nikola Tesla back in the early 1900s. He using the word radiant energy. And the textbooks were changed in 1916 to eliminate that, and we went into this mainstream electronics field, kind of dropping this radiant term. But that's actually, that's what we're talking about here.
So is plasma kind of like the soup between all things?
Yes. And it has the ability to communicate instantly. Electronics verbiage, what they call transverse waves, which would be the sinusoidal wave of a frequency of like alternating current or AC in your wall outlet. What we're talking about here is called a longitudinal wave, where if you took a rope and pulled one end, the action at the other end was instantaneous. So it's faster than the speed of light.
Is that related to scalar energy then?
Yes, that's another term. Scalar or longitudinal would be the same, or radiant. And so in order for that to occur, you have to imagine it as pulling a rope instantly. The action is already at the other end. But the universe is set up in this longitudinal field. And you can do this electronically. It's taken me a long time to realize how to do it, how to build electronics to cause this to occur. And our, quote, government, whoever's running the thing at the time, has the ability to control the weather, control our minds through the use of this energy field.
Okay, so this energy field, it sounds like it's not bound by time and space, right?
Correct.
So that would probably be the vehicle we use for remote viewing, shamanic journeying, telepathy, that whole thing?
Yes, you have a left and right hemisphere of your brain, and you can actually, what you do is you can have, if you imagine a sinusoidal wave, a positive cycle and then a negative cycle at the same time. If you cancel those two out, the sum net would be zero, you would think, but it's not. And so you have this pulse or this energy faster than the speed of light. This thought that occurs happens, and the brain has the ability to do that with the two hemispheres. And we're using this, quote, radiant energy or longitudinal waves or scalar energy to do that.
How long have you been working with this?
Well, the Vibe machine, I patented in November of 2002, so it's been out a while. And we've got about 3,600 machines out there now in 48 states and 57 countries. So I also completed 6 clinical studies, and at the Mayo Clinic, Penn State, paid for IRBs, IDEs, MDs, statisticians, double-blind studies. So we put the dough, hundreds of thousands of dollars to prove its authenticity, and the thing works. Otherwise, I wouldn't have sold that many machines.
Right. It works on a lot of different levels. We're just about out of time in this segment, and I want to get into what it does do on the other side. But you've had it in operation since, how many did you build the first year?
Oh, gosh, we were building 1 at a time, 3 at a time. I think we built probably 50 units the first year.
In the first year? Wow. And so then the proof was in the pudding, just word of mouth, and how did people figure out it was working?
They would hear some of the incredible things, and they would tell their friends and family. It was word of mouth. Wow.
Well, we're going to have to take a quick break here. Gene and I will return shortly, so don't you go away. Remember, you can always listen to past episodes free of charge on our website, thescienceofmagic.net, and we're aired daily on the X-Zone Broadcast Network. This is The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka on the X-Zone, www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone broadcast network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. Gwilda Wiyaka's latest book, The Science of Magic Book of Mysteries, Volume 1, is the first book in a series based on her writings that open every episode of the Science of Magic radio show. Drawing on the subject matter of each guest, and armed with over 40 years' experience in shamanism, 35 years in alternative health, and degrees in psychology and religious studies, Gwilda introduces relevant and leading-edge information that supports spiritual evolution and personal empowerment. Rich with wisdom and inspirational quotes packaged in digestible segments, this is a book that will pull you from cover to cover. It will also serve as a daily inspirational reading for years to come. The Science of Magic Book of Mysteries, Volume 1 is available at our website, tsompublications.com, amazon.com, and wherever fine books are sold. Back in Victorian England, a famous theologian posed a perplexing riddle. Why are the two top personalities in the Bible tagged with the numbers 7 and 11? Academics agree the answer is found in the stunning discovery of a hitherto secret Bible structure explained in a new book called The Genesis Grid. The discovery is so simple that preschool children could illustrate it. Certain claims are hugely controversial and may offend some, but at the X-Zone, we've studied this awesome new book and agree with one expert, and I quote, "These discoveries appear to be beyond coincidence." So who or what hid this wonderful pattern in the Bible, and what might they do next? Find out more, X-Zone Nation, and read reviews on www.genesisgrid.co.uk. That's www.genesisgrid.co.uk.
Welcome back. This is The Science of Magic, dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. Our guest this hour is Gene Koonce, the inventor of the Vibe Machine, a.k.a. the Quantum Pulse. His website, thequantumpulse.com. So, Gene, you invented the Vibe Machine some time ago. What prompted you to do it? I mean, did you say, I'm just going to wake up one morning and make something that affects the quantum level, or how did you decide to make it?
Well, I'll tell you, there was a product on the market. There was at the time it was called a Bell's machine. There were 10 units built. It was made off of a copy of something off of a website called Information Unlimited. They did a study on AIDS patients, 10 people. 6 of them got better, 4 of them got worse. I saw that device, and it gave me the idea that I could upgrade this thing to something of value, and spent a couple years, set this thing to the correct frequencies using Tesla coil. Was able to add in qubits and cause a ringing resonance, and added in geometry, used the right materials, and had to adjust this thing for the correct frequencies. And I basically came up with it at that point. And I patented the device.
How'd you find the frequencies? We're talking frequencies of the human body, right?
Yeah, they are published. It is hard to find. I actually took the device out to Dave Farnsworth. Philo, his great uncle, invented the television. We used Tektronix equipment. We're producing harmonics of 1, 3, 5, 7, 11, and 13, which are all prime numbers. Mm-hmm. I can see it on the scope. So harmonics are you're taking a frequency and multiplying it by those numbers, and what we're trying to do is match the length of tissue, which causes a ringing resonance, AE tuning fork, guitar string, a Memorex glass commercial. And if we can match that frequency, we can cause those cells to oscillate at a higher level. And if we can add geometry, we can actually do more.
Okay, so it sounds to me like, help me catch up with you here, Gene. It sounds to me like you're using a combination of mechanical waves, electromagnetic waves, and sacred geometry? Well,
you have to add in that radiant energy versus electromagnetic waves. Electromagnetic is a term people use, but electromagnetic doesn't do any healing. It's more of a carrier. Otherwise, everyone would stand next to power lines and get better. And so the frequencies can be derived from the gases in the atmosphere, and we take those gases, capture air, take it to a low temperature, bring it back up, and argon will peel off at 667 parts per million, xenon at 2 parts per million, and we enclose those in a evacuated chamber of like 2 to 7 column inches. And then we excite them with an implosion versus an explosion. And that implosion can vary depending on the color of the spark, whether it be blue, yellow, white, as to what it's producing. And that can be determined by the material that it's used to make that spark.
Okay, so now I want to back up just a little bit so that people can follow us here. I've seen the Vibe Machine up close and personal, and it's a pretty amazing-looking apparatus. It has its own little personality, but it has all these tubes of noble gases that you're talking about. And so the spark, the color of the spark that you're producing, is that what's coming through the electronics of the machine through those noble gases?
Well, yes, there's a pulse, an implosion inside of the base, and it causes this implosion of the gases, which creates this negative entropy, and the body is negatively charged. The sky is positively charged, and we're bringing that cell potential, that energy, and we're producing this plasma field. So clairvoyants can actually see the energy. I can too, but your aura, well, you can actually think and bring that energy into your system. People that don't have that ability, like pets, they experience all types of effects by being near it. So
because they don't have the ability to direct it through their intent, pets because they don't understand the whole operation. What do you see happen with them? Does the owner have to do it for them?
No, they can. We have vets with as many as 4 machines, but you can put a hand on, say, a tumor with a wet paper towel and hold the other hand near the machine, and actually they can literally, we've had some that just disappear within 5 minutes. It's the eyesight issues, the cataracts, you can actually see the film disappear. It's incredible when you add a healer in with the device, because they can direct the energy.
Okay. So it's just putting out energy. And so that takes us right back to what happens with the energy is up to the intent of the individual or the intent of the practitioner. Is that accurate? And if so, how are you sure that the intent is clean? I mean, we have a conscious intent and we have unconscious intent.
Well, we try and tell people, basically no words in the room, a neutral room, maybe scenery, pictures. You go in with a neutral mind, because the intention, when you amplify that, you can do a lot more. You can even take this thing into mechanical objects. An example, I have a car dealership next door, and if I say that car needs to go by Friday or it's going to the auction, they'll walk in the door within an hour and buy it. So it happens 30, 40, 50 times. And so it's an intention. When you bring that intention level up where the system, the hemispheres, the body is in balance, the abilities increase dramatically.
So we're not talking just healing here. We're talking about moving our intention into the world in a lot of different arenas. Right.
So, thoughts are things to the point that it's, you go, wow. Your aura, your increases to the point that, when people look at you, your eyes are like clear, and it's it's kind of neat.
But it's also kind of scary, because what if somebody with less than good intent decides to use this?
Well, you're going to have the yin and the yang on everything, so you're going to have those people out there. That's just part of life, I guess. I don't dwell on those, and we just work on the people that that have physical or emotional issues are really easy. That's one of the first studies we did.
Wow. So it's like, because this machine is putting out energy that recalibrates or is balanced for the human body, do you think that kind of puts in checks and balances, so it starts to rebalance somebody that might be imbalanced enough to want to misuse?
Yes. When they'll come out of that room laughing, crying, smiling. We've had some aggression occur. So it's an emotional dump, and I didn't think that was a big thing, but when I first started this, that emotional issues were not, but it's a very big thing. And when you balance the system, the emotions seem to release, and this worry turns to wonder, and people, the water comes off the back out of the duck, or whatever you want to call it.
So all the things that have been held in suspension and frozen are mobilized.
Yeah, and it's, Gwilda, you know more on this area than I do, but, if we can release those deep issues, the trauma of a train wreck or an auto accident or someone dying is embedded into the brain, and you release that, and you can do that. We did some testing on that, actually acupuncture pre and post, and we in auto accidents we could see higher levels and lower levels, and they would increase the baseline and bring the high levels down, so that the neurons in the brain are all firing at an even level, so you don't have this high, low, and the baseline goes up.
It's amazing. It just kind of recalibrates on all levels, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Would you explain the field it puts out? Is it in a toroidal formation? We have about a minute here.
Yes, I've got a donut-shaped antenna on top, and it has these X's of crossover, which before I explained the positive cycle and negative cycle, so if we can produce those two and end up with a net zero sum, but it's not net zero, then we can create this energy to transmit forward in this plasma state, and that's how the body is working. So we actually took that geometry using magnets and this shape and the correct lengths to, when this energy field shoots out of this thing, it transmits it out in a spinning toroid, which is how the universe operates.
Wow, well, we're going to have to pick up that on this fascinating subject on the other side of a commercial break, because it is time for a short pause. Gene and I will return to our discussion on the other side of this break, so you guys stay right there. Don't miss all the wonderful things we have to offer on our website, your resource for creative solutions in a changing world, thescienceofmagic.net. This is The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
Our broadcast studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, to the world and beyond. You're watching the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
AVS Media Demo.
The scientist and the mystic have been on an age-old, relentless search with one thing in common. They seek truth. Their paths converge in the 40,000-year-old practice of shamanism, an ancient science delving to the quantum level of life, facilitating healing, manifestation, and evolution. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka, the founder and director of Path Home Shamanic Arts School, a unique Colorado State-certified occupational school, training shamanic practitioners and teachers. We also provide classes for empowering personal lives through shamanism. Our certification classes are in week-long segments enabling international participation, and online classes and long-distance shamanic healing sessions are available. Come discover the science of magic in the limitless world of shamanism. www.findyourpathhome.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. Rob McConnell here, presenting an overview for Nicholas Paul Jennings, author of a fascinating book, Amen. It presents facts revealed by Egyptologists, facts that enable us to understand why Amen is the beginning of creation of God. It provides recommendations for religious leaders of the major religions to unify their beliefs and teach the Word of God. Love one another. Amen informs people how mankind conceived God. It was the Egyptians that developed the concepts of a soul, a hereafter, and Son of God. And finally, after the worship of many gods, they conceived the belief in one universal God, the maker of all there is. For more information, visit www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com. futureofgodamen.com.
Welcome back. This is The Science of Magic, a place where magic and science come together to promote enlightenment. If you enjoy all the wonderful topics on our program, visit my blog and ask questions and share thoughts as the adventures continue at our website, thescienceofmagic.net. I am your host, Wilda Wiecka, and our guest this hour is Gene Koonce, the inventor of the Vibe Machine. His website, thequantumpulse.com. Gene, we were getting into toroidal fields, and let's back up a little bit on it. There's so many rabbit holes I can go down here. But there's a toroidal field around the human body, which is our auric field. There's a toroidal field around the Earth, which is the electromagnetic field. There's a toroidal field around the Sun, which is its electromagnetic field. How do all of those interrelate, and how does the vibe help with that?
Well, we are our own universe. We are interconnected. We can take and spin our energy correctly. We can connect. We can move to different locations. We can bilocate. You can look ahead. You can look behind, and I've experienced this. I've been a remote viewer. Probably since 2000, and it's real. It's exciting that you get you're using your own ability, and this is just increasing to the point. It's like a learning for the energy field of your system without the use of drugs.
Okay, so basically you're training, and this is something we've forgotten, but it's been addressed by all shamanic cultures for 60,000 years, is how to work our energetic field versus just our physical one. And all those things that you're stating are shamanic skills. So this is an enhancer of the natural shamanic skill?
Right. So it's a tool. The really good healers don't even need this device, but it's an amplifier because they know how. So if you sit in front of this and you get that energy field, and you're going, wow, all of a sudden this pain is gone. I can think clearer. I can ace that test. What just happened? And so it's occurring. It's like we created a field a little more than what you're experiencing normally, and it's in front of you, and then you can direct it, or you can just sit there and it actually balances the system to the point that you can think enough to do it on your own.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to, at the risk of getting technical and out there at the same time, NASA has been studying what they call X points out there, and they're in any place where the electromagnetic field of the Earth cross that of the Sun. And they believe that what's being created there are like actual wormholes, rifts in time and space. And of course, they got all sorts of probes out there experimenting, trying to find them. But the problem is you never know where they're going to pop up. Okay, because both electromagnetic fields oscillate. Is that the right word? However, if every place one field crosses another, creates a wormhole, if you will, is that how we're traveling? Is by these X points, and is that what you're creating on the top of your Vibe machine with the crosses of the wires?
It is. Yes and no. There are ley lines already set up on the Earth. You can use dowsing rods. Find these about every 2 meters running east-west and north-south. And they call it a Hartmann grid. Mm-hmm. And you can clear the building by using dowels. They used to use like horseshoe wires, copper mm-hmm. wires bent in a U, and they put them on these ley lines, and it would create a safe space. So the new technology, you can use dowels, cut it lengths, and it will stop that. If you call here, I'll give you the dimensions. But if you set this machine so it's facing north-south, facing so that the arcing chamber fires in an east-west direction, you get this 90-degree shift between what they call electromagnetic and electrical fields, or electromagnetic and radiant fields.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you set that in the correct direction, just like sleeping, it will operate better. If you set it at these ley lines or these points on the earth, then it will affect that wormhole, or it will work better if we're not on the, like Stonehenge, if we're not in that area, or Sedona. You can make your own area amplified.
So it's like it's creating sacred space. Now, which brings me to another point, is how does the Vibe machine or the quantum pulse interact with the Earth itself?
You know, we've had weather changes where the cloud formations will shift around the building. And so then we turn the unit off, and then you look at the small cloud, and you can break it up with your mind. And so you go back in and you vibe, and you bring your energy level up, and then you can actually move it over and have it collect. So it's like visual proof. So it is affecting the weather, the atmosphere. We also have noticed the animals, birds and squirrels outside the building, why they weren't there before, but they are now.
So it kind of attracts them?
Yeah.
Where you mentioned we see it also at sacred spaces, sacred spots, where the medicine wheels or Stonehenge or sacred sites they've used sacred geometry to cooperate with the Earth's field. Puts out the same kind of thing?
Yes. You have to deal with the Earth itself. They have Boulder, the USGS put out a set of what they call geomagnetic map, Earth anomaly of the electromagnetic fields of the United States. And we ship a machine. I know we shipped a machine to Laramie, Wyoming, and the guy goes, "It doesn't work." And I'm going, "That's weird." So we sent him another one. We got his back, and he said it didn't work. And so we sent him a third one. We took the machines that we got back from him, and we put them out somewhere else, and they worked just great. So that put me on this geomagnetic or electromagnetic Earth grid that they did. And there's certain areas of the United States that have high electromagnetic fields and lower ones. And so we understood there had to be a reason that the machine would work in certain areas and not others as well. Take, for example, Cheyenne, Wyoming. You know, we've got over 50 machines in a town of 50,000 population. I mean, it's crazy. Little Rock, Arkansas, there's a river that runs through it. They had a machine on the south side of town. They moved it to the north side. It worked just great. Wouldn't work on the south side. So this electromagnetic field, when you travel, you can feel like sense and energy, not of your surroundings, but of your feeling of your body. And the devices work better with a higher electromagnetic field.
Okay, so they actually kind of, is it a matter of cooperating with what's there or being driven into a stronger field by what's there for the machine at the location?
I'm not sure.
That's amazing.
Sure. I do know that the fields cause them to work better and worse. And Florida, for an example, has hot and cold spots, even though it's low sea level. Colorado has a lot of high and low electromagnetic fields. California is basically dead. San Francisco is gone. The mountain range through there is okay, but it's and New York is dead. You can see these maps and you're going, gosh, this is where I live. This is why I feel the way I do. Or
what do you mean by dead? What do you?
Well, there's no electromagnetic field. So when you're traveling, you don't get this. You don't get this inrush. I call it. You just feel like you're numb. You just don't have any feeling. And if you're driving and you feel like, wow, this feels different. Does it feel good different or bad different? Well, you're traveling. The Earth's field is changing, and that affects the subtle energy, the photons in the body, and causes them like a washing as you move through the areas.
So the vibe, there's some places it just simply can't make the correction. Is that true?
Yeah. they're using, there's a lot of sulfur or different minerals in the water, and it's neutralized the public to the point that they're, I'd say, blah. They just have there's nothing there.
That's amazing.
You could travel 2 miles and it would be completely different. But some areas are vast. That's what that feeling is when you're driving along and you go, wow, I feel a little better. Well, what was it? Was it your system, or was it something area that you just moved into?
That gives a whole different description about, how we have these not archetypes, but we have these stereotypes of different people being different ways at different locations. There's an electromagnetic basis behind it, isn't there?
Yes.
Yeah, just amazing, just amazing. I really want to get into this a little bit further. We have just a little bit time in this section. Where do you think is the least lively place in the United States?
The East Coast, basically up by New York. San Francisco is gone.
Wow.
It's a shipping port, but they're...
We're going to have to pick up on the other side. I'm sorry, we do need to take another quick break. Before we pause, let me remind you to check out the amazing upcoming online galactic shamanism classes for both children and adults on www.findyourpathhome.com. Jean and I will be back shortly, so don't leave us now. After all, we are your resource to altruistic professionals of science and the esoteric, working to create common ground for the betterment of our world. Join our email family to stay abreast of all the exciting things we offer at thescienceofmagic.net. This is The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
Named one of the world's greatest psychics, Elizabeth Joyce is now giving readings worldwide via Skype. Elizabeth Joyce is recognized for her clairvoyant ability to help find missing persons, her analysis of dreams, past life regression work, mediumship, and her accurate predictions. Elizabeth has been a frequent guest on the X-Zone radio show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, now for several years. For an appointment with Elizabeth Joyce, call 201-934-8986 or Skype at elizabeth.joyce. And for more information, you can always visit Elizabeth Joyce online at www.new-visions.com. The new nonfiction book, Razor of Madness, is similar to cult movies like Clockwork Orange, Dragon's Tattoo, or The Other Side of Hell. Wayne Morin Jr. and Thomas Lee Howe will expose widespread and systematic deficiencies in this thought-provoking tell-all novel. Mind control rages among scholars in law schools. Human rights are ignored while thought reform and mental manipulation are accepted practices used as behavior modification. Dr. Louis Jolyon West comes to mind. Media and public scrutiny shows that United States mental hospitals are in fact destructive murder industries. Razor of Madness expose novel details this epidemic through an in-depth professional and personal investigation. For decades there has been a revolving door policy that still releases killers and pedophiles back into society. The maestro of mind control continues to haunt America to this very day. Razor of Madness is available in paperback or as a downloadable ebook at Amazon.com.
I'm William S. Peckham. If you enjoy a good mystery with a touch of the paranormal, then you'll love my novel, From Out of the Woodwork. It's the story of a young Toronto contractor, Sean Kennedy, who buys derelict homes, guts them, and turns them into multifamily dwellings. Slums just waiting to happen. When Sean buys 29 Livery Lane, the house fights back. Former owners unexpectedly come out of the woodwork as he starts the destruction. The apparitions come to him when he touches old books, reads hidden letters, rummages through old boxes, finds a locket, or reads a discovered manuscript of a murder mystery. From Out of the Woodwork will take you from 1899 to the horror of the World Trade Center, September 11, 2001. Check out From Out of the Woodwork on my website, www.xzbn.net. WilliamSPeckham.com.
Welcome back. This is the Science of Magic, bringing together gifted people of service to the world. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. What's up in your world? I always love to hear from my listeners. Email me at info@thescienceofmagic and suggest a topic or a guest that's on your mind. I'm sure we'll all enjoy them. We're speaking with Gene Koonce, the inventor of the Vibe Machine, a.k.a. the Quantum Pulse, his website, thequantumpulse.com. Gene, when you first started working on inventing the Vibe Machine, your intent was helping people physically heal. Is that correct?
Yes, I noticed on myself personally, my arthritis, my joints, my arthritis went away, and my energy level came back.
Wow, you were talking about some pretty significant studies. Would you mind going into those and why you decided to have the studies done?
Sure. We were having dramatic results, like, tumors disappearing in 3 weeks from brain, stage 4s, and breast cancers, and pancreatics, and, little things like that, leukemias. And so we did we basically started doing an anti-aging study, testing DHEA, calcitonin free radicals. We did 30 subjects, 3 times, 3.5 minutes, total of 9 sessions in 3 weeks. And we had a 25 to 35% change in DHEA, calcitonin free radicals, which means it's an anti-aging device. So then we did a DNA unwinding, rewinding test. We got some DNA from Chicago, shipped it to Long Island to a chemist in Max Factor and Dr. Glenn Ryan. And we found by heating, cooling, and using the machine, we were able to get the DNA to rewind tighter, which is another sign of anti-aging. And then Dr. Norm Shealy was one of the MDs we used, said, Gene, you need to do a study on emotional issues. Some of these subjects are saying they're having great improvement. And so we did a 50-subject double-blind study on bipolars to schizophrenics. We did what they call a Zung test, state trait anxiety test, 300 questions, subjective on emotional issues. There's not a physical test. And we did them 9 sessions, 3.5 minutes. We had a 50% drop in overall symptoms in 3 weeks. Huge.
Wow. That is huge. Are there any independent studies that have been done?
We had safety testing done at the Mayo Clinic by a biophysicist in the oncology department. She said in her career she's never seen a device coherent with the human body. She said yours is, which means no side effects. Huge.
Wow. Do you have an FDA clearance?
No. A guy 2 years in came to my door and said, Gene, do you realize what you have? I said, yes. We had people lined out the door coming in with everything. He goes, well, we don't allow a cure for cancer in the United States. He goes, we'll let you do this for 5 years, and after that you can't do it. And I thought the guy was crazy, but 5 years to the day, the FDA came in my door. They said, we want to see if it's fraud or a medical device. I go, okay, I've been here all my life. And they deemed it a medical device. They said, this isn't fraud. This is a medical device. You need to take all your clinical studies down. I took them down. They sent me a letter 3 weeks later, said I didn't have any clinical studies. Then they said we killed somebody in Seattle, which we had nothing bad occur. So we hired an investigator, found the guy died 2 weeks before we shipped the machine. We sent him certified death certificate, UPS shipping records, MasterCard receipts. Said, I got the FDA on the line. I go, how do you kill somebody that's been dead for 2 weeks? The FDA said, Gene, it's possible. If you continue to cure cancer, we're going to throw you in prison, fine you $1.2 million, and take everything you own. We had to hire an attorney out of Washington, change the name of the machine to something else, take down all the medical claims. The FDA laughed at my face and said, good luck selling a machine with no claims. So that's their way of controlling something that works.
That's scary, isn't it? And it's understandable because it's not the wellness business, it's the sickness business, right?
Right. There's no profit.
Follow the money. Yeah. But I understand that that you're still selling them.
Oh yeah, we're probably selling a couple, 3 a day. Not like we used to, but But it's doing well. They'll call up, order 5-6 machines, one individual. We have some people have bought as many as 7 machines for all their family members.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
just amazing. The last time we had a chance to visit, you were working on some perpetual motion and free energy. How's that going?
Well, I'll tell you, I've had people come here that have been visited by angels. They tell me to do this or do that. I even mentioned something we had talked about earlier, but these 7-winged angels have been visiting some people quite frequently. They're pointing directions. I'm building things here. Very unusual things are occurring through the use of geometry and this plasma field. So once we set this geometry and you use your intention and the plasma is there, then this direction, it's a two-way street, and these thoughts just roll in. It's really exciting.
How much the inspirations you're getting, how much do you attribute that to the frequency shift in your personal field as a result of being with the vibe so much?
Oh, it's probably 90%. I try and eat right, get some exercise, and plenty of rest. And when I come in and I take deep breaths, and I can actually bring my brain to neutrals, and things will just occur. It's great. And then I'll have to take a break, about every 50 minutes and get right back into it. But it's quite a journey.
Sounds like. What effect? Tell me about the relationship between the quantum pulsar vibe machine and water. I understand you put water in the room. Why do you do that?
Well, it will hold the energy. We had a study done in Cheyenne on that. It will kill the bacteria for 90 days. They've proven that. But water is like the living force of the system. So you can take the water, you can water 2 plants, you'll see one grows faster. You can freeze it, and ice cubes will have spikes, 1.5 spikes coming out of it. We'll take a case to somebody that's got lung cancer in a hospital. They won't allow a machine because it's not FDA cleared. Their lung cancer will go away just from drinking the water. So you can set this energy into the water, and it will hold it. You can pour it in dog bowls, and the dogs or cats will drink it before they'll drink anything else. It's definitely affecting the water itself. So
if we look at this on a large-scale basis, it could be a pretty simple cure for a lot of the water pollution we're dealing with, do you think?
Oh, yeah. With the spikes coming out of the water, it's doing a structure. We took it down to Tucson. We checked viscosity and surface tension. It affects the surface tension. It affects the viscosity, not the surface tension. So there is a physical thing occurring, but there's also how it affects the system is to be determined, but it definitely does.
There's a known carcinogen that's left behind when water's purified with chlorine, even after the chlorine's gone. Can you purify water as well with a Vibe machine without the chlorine? And what does that do to the carcinogens from the organic matter?
It will definitely kill the bacteria. So if it's a physical issue, you're not adding problems into the system. So the system is more capable of handling the issue at hand rather than adding more things in.
Right. You mean the system as in the system of water?
Yes.
Yeah. What's your vision for the future of energy technology, Gene?
I believe the powers that be, want a population control. I think that if we're allowed to get it out through word of mouth or, people die from lack of knowledge. It's a matter of trying to get this information out there so that they'll experience it and find out that drugs are not the answer. And this is the answer. A practitioner that has a couple of my machines, her boyfriend got on the line one day and said, Gene, I just retired from Area 51. I'm aware of your device. The government has a machine like this. It corrects everything, including your DNA. Don't let anybody try and change this device away from this. And that's validation to me that I'm on the right track.
Mm.
And
But if human intent plays such an important part, how can we get the consistent results we need?
Well, a balancing of the system, like I do, proper nutrition, sleep, exercise, bringing the body into a state where you're aware of your surroundings and become part of your surroundings, using the device to bring that level up so that you can be one with everything. Mm-hmm. It changes your life. It takes these people that have emotional challenges and straightens them out into actual, people.
Well, Gene, it seems like we just got started, but unfortunately we are already out of time. Thanks so much for being with us on the show.
Thanks.
Our guest this hour has been Gene Koonce, the inventor of the Vibe Machine, a.k.a. the Quantum Pulse. His website, thequantumpulse.com. Remember to join our email family to stay abreast of all the exciting new things we have coming up at thescienceofmagic.net. This has been The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. Until next time, dear ones, may you be blessed with knowledge and comforted with love as you rebalance your life.
Searching for the light. One people, one nation, coming from the stars. One people, one nation, to heal this earth of ours. Our great
Modern Esoteric, Beyond Our Senses by Brad Olson, consummates the lifeology story about where humanity originates. It is the lost continents, the primitive wisdom, the mythos of creation, and the rethinking of ancient history as we are taught in academia. There is much more to the story than what we have been told. As this is the first book in the Esoteric series, Modern Esoteric starts at the beginning of time and accelerates up to this modern age. Future Esoteric is book 2 in the series and takes a forward-looking position ahead of today with an open and honest examination of the ET issue and various unexplained phenomena. To discover the writings of author Brad Olson, visit www.bradolson.com. That's www.bradolson.com. Are you or is someone you know struggling with addictions, depression, anxiety, relationships, low self-esteem, lack of confidence, grief, success, and prosperity? Do you know that your subconscious belief plays a big role in the outcome of your hard work? We can help you permanently change the beliefs that may be the reason for your struggles and failures. We care about getting you the return on your investment and the results you are looking for. We can help you be free of the limitations of your past and in realizing your highest potential. We work with people by phone and Skype. For more information, visit us at www.ritasoman.com. That's www.ritasoman.com. Do you think you have energy problems in your home? Do you feel better when you're away than when you're home? Joey Korn is a global leader in the world of dowsing who specializes in personal energy clearing and space clearing. He can help you create an ideal energy environment in your home no matter where you live in the world. Learn about his remote spiritual house cleaning services and much more at www.dowsers.com. You can get Joey's book, Dowsing, A Path to Enlightenment, as well as other dowsing books and tools, Kabbalah books, and Walter Russell books. Joey's work is really amazing. Go to dowsers.com right now. That's DOWSERS.com or call 1-877-DOWSING. That's 1 877 369 7464.